All right, greetings, my friends. Here we are for lesson 24 in A Course in Miracles. I do not perceive my own best interests. In no situation that arises do you realize the outcome that would make you happy. Therefore, you have no guide to appropriate action and no way of judging the result. What you do is determined by your perception of the situation, and that perception is wrong. It is inevitable, then, that you will not serve your own best interests. Yet they are your only goal in any situation which is correctly perceived. Otherwise, you will not recognize what they are. If you realize that you do not perceive your own best interests, you could be taught what they are. But in the presence of your conviction that you do know what they are, you cannot learn. The idea for today is a step toward opening your mind so that learning can begin. The exercises for today require much more honesty than you are accustomed to using. A few subjects, honestly and carefully considered in each of the 5 practice periods, should be undertaken daily. Which should be undertaken daily will be more helpful than a more cursory examination of a large number. 2 minutes are suggested for each of the mind-searching periods which the exercises involve. The practice periods should begin with repeating today's idea, followed by searching the mind with eyes closed for unresolved situations about which you are currently concerned. The emphasis should be on uncovering the outcome you want. You will quickly realize that you have a number of goals in mind as part of the desired outcome, and also that these goals are on different levels and often conflict. In applying the idea for today, name each situation that occurs to you, and then enumerate carefully as many goals as possible that you would like to be met in its resolution. The form of each application should be done roughly as follows. In the situation involving blank, I would like blank to happen, and so on. Try to cover as many different kinds of outcomes as may honestly occur to you, even if some of them do not appear to be directly related to the situation, or even to be inherent in it at all. If these exercises are done properly, you will quickly recognize that you are making a large number of demands of the situation which have nothing to do with it. You will also recognize that many of your goals are contradictory, that you have no unified outcome in mind, and that you must experience disappointment in connection with some of your goals, however the situation turns out. After covering the list of as many hoped-for goals as possible, for each unresolved situation that crosses your mind, say to yourself, I do not perceive my own best interests in this situation, and go on to the next. I do not perceive my own best interests. This is a tricky one to swallow because we like to think that we're moving towards our goals. We like to think that we do perceive our own best interests and even the interests of others, and that we're working towards manifesting positive outcomes and goals. We don't like to consider that we have somewhat self-sabotaging habits and programs that prevent us from actually seeing our best interests and then working towards them. So in this lesson, in lesson 24, the course is asking us to just admit to ourselves that we don't have our best interests at hand. We don't necessarily know what they are, and that we are in a control pattern. We are trying to control an outcome, control a situation. And in the practice periods, it's allowing us this grand opportunity to just observe how this is working in our lives and how our mind is projecting into our reality, how our mind is creating our reality. Hence, we have disappointments. So if you say to yourself, in this situation involving whatever it is, I would like this to happen and this to happen. And when you go through that, I know in my own life, when I start to really say the things and track through my mind, I can see that there is opposition and there is sometimes conflict. So just admitting to yourself, I don't perceive my own best interests allows space so that the aspect of you which does perceive your own interests, the aspect of you that has perspective, that can, excuse me, see from different, um, can see the whole picture, can infuse. And then we can create goals and intentions that are in alignment with our own best interests. But it is only when we're willing to set aside our limited perception of what we perceive to be our best interests, setting that down, where we can allow that omnipresent, grandiose, magnified uh, aspect of ourselves to collaborate, to infuse, and to show us what indeed our best interests are. Happy practicing. See you in the next one.